Good evening. Welcome to the regular Board of Aldermen meeting at the Salado Municipal Building, located at 301 North Stagecoach Road in Salado, Texas. The date is November 21st, 2024, and it is 6:30 p.m. Ms. Bean, please call the roll. Thank you, ma'am. As we begin this Board of Aldermen meeting, let's take a moment to reflect on our shared commitment to serve the diverse community of the Village of Salado. We invite all present, regardless of faith, belief, or philosophy, to join us in a spirit of unity, respect, and compassion. May our deliberations be guided by wisdom, our decisions rooted in fairness, and our actions driven by the common good. Whether you find inspiration in a higher power, the bonds of humanity, or the wonders of nature, let us work together to build a culture where every voice is heard and every individual is valued. Let's take a moment, please. Thank you. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and salute to the Texas flag.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag, and allegiance to the Texas, and one nation, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Item 1, public comments. The Board of Aldermen welcomes comments from citizens on issues and items of concern not on the agenda. Those wishing to speak must sign in before the meeting and observe a 5-minute time limit when addressing the board. Speakers will have one opportunity to speak during this time period. Speakers desiring to speak on an agenda item will be allowed to speak when the agenda item is called. Inquiries about matters not listed on the agenda will either be directed to staff or placed on a future agenda for Alderman consideration. First up, Mr. James Frenna. Come up to the podium, sir. As you approach the microphone, if you don't mind, please state your name and address for the record.
James Frenna, K24, Eagle Crest Code, Salado.
Okay.
Okay, the reason I came here today, I kind of address the wastewater system that they have there. Basically, I'm new, moved in May 15th. My first surprise was a bill 7 or 8 days later from the Warden Department, which I thought was part of the community. I found out it's a corporation. And the interesting part of that was the bill being rather large, 38,000 gallons, which is enough to fill a swimming pool. And then now, and that was all the fault of the thick landscaping, who did the landscaping on my property, across 3.29 acres, which is just under 17,000 square feet. My house is a residence. Basically, I got the bill, I went to the Board of Department, talked to them, and I was greatly surprised how rude they were. And I hope that somehow that department could be part of the community. Now, the wastewater people, talked to Jennifer when I got my bill in November, which I was surprised to get a bill in the amount of $410 for wastewater. And I thought, wastewater comes out of the house. Sewer systems are great compared to other ways of disposing water. And anyway, I'm based on $68.44 a month due to the fact that the first bill from the Board of Aldermen. And I talked to one of my neighbors, he said his was over $700. And I thought, I guess I'm not too bad. And then I talked to a good friend of mine down the street who's retired like I am, him and his wife, and my wife, we're two older couples. His bill is $29. So my question to you is, can something be done to make the bills equal in our residents? Now, we're part of the Brothers building, and it would be nice that it can go in and say, hey, let's look at the house, let's look at the square footage of that house, let's look at how many bathrooms are in it. And I figured out, I went through my house and I thought, okay, the shower uses 2.5 gallons per minute. The toilet uses 1.6 gallons per flush, so forth, so on. I won't follow you with all the details. I'm saying, you know, realistically, I use maybe at the most 2,000 gallons of water in my house. You know, dishwasher, clothes wash. You know, and two old people, we're 77 to 78 years old. Doesn't make any sense. Now, we got a lot of new people who are going to be moving into that neighborhood, and they're going to be shocked like I am. And my one neighbor says he's $700 a month. And his bill that he got in November, and we got our first bill November 1st after living in my house for 5 months. So I request that somebody look into it, and if need be, I'll be glad to sit down with somebody. I'm retired. I've retired 12 years ago. I moved here. My oldest son works out of his house, and I like it here. I don't want to move again. So that's my story.
Thank you, Mr. Frenna. Unfortunately, we can't speak to this agenda item right now, or to your comment, because it's not on the agenda. What I can do is, Mr. Del Rosa, can we put this on a future agenda at a future meeting to have this conversation? And somebody will be reaching out to you in the next couple of months. Tomorrow's Friday, so probably a little part of next week, and let's have that discussion.
That sounds good. One thing, Jennifer that works at the wastewater department, excellent person.
Thank you.
Just want to pass that on.
Thank you very much.
Your department, that's a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles Simmons.
Charles Simmons, 317 Salado Creek Place, Salado. So let's go back to my last comment in the last meeting and continue our discussion of your decision on the Planning and Zoning Commission's I-35 West Side Overlay Drive. What is the truth about your decision-making process? The reasons and the decision. Do we believe what you tell us, or do we believe what's in your own statutes and ordinances and Texas law? At the last meeting, we learned that you told us the Planning and Zoning Commission West Side Overlay draft was done. So it's pretty clear from the document in draft form, the tabling of the P&Z draft by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and testimony by P&Z members that the draft was not their final proposal, and that was not the case. You told us you could hold a meeting and deny the Planning and Zoning unfinished draft. But we learned that the Board of Aldermen can't call a meeting and nix the Planning and Zoning unfinished proposal. We went through Texas Law, Government Code, Chapter 7, Sub A, etc., to 11.007 that states that. So are we to believe the West Side Overlay draft, testimony of the Planning and Zoning Commission members, and state law? Oh dear. We further learned that you cannot nix the Planning and Zoning proposal without a public meeting. You said otherwise. Yet we went through your own village ordinance 2013.08, section 2.4G1, and Texas law 211.007, which requires the Board of Aldermen to set and hold a public hearing. There was no public hearing. So do we believe your own village ordinance and Texas law? The answer is pretty clear that you can believe the statutes and testimonies, but not the Board of Aldermen. So tonight, let's look at when you told us that the Planning and Zoning Commission is on the wrong path and the West Side overlay is not objective. Let's look at your own village statutes and plans. They are going to tell us the Planning and Zoning Commission is on the right path, a path that you just passed in the Comprehensive Plan 2024-10 on August 15th of this year, a path set forth in Village Ordinance 2013-08, establishing the West Side Overlay District. So I prepared a basic summary of what's in the West Side Overlay draft and the Village Ordinances and your August comprehensive plan. If you look at all those points, the introduction, the objective, what's proposed that the Board of Aldermen should look at and the Planning and Zoning Commission should look at, they almost track each other identically. Take a look at the document I gave you that establishes the West Side Overlay, and it talks about the general purpose. It's envisioned as a tool to stabilize and improve property values, protect and enhance village attractions, and to strengthen the economy and to enhance the attractiveness of the village. It has a declaration of policy that says, the village aldermen hereby find and declare as a matter of policy that the cohesive development of the west side of IH-35 is a public necessity and is required in the interest of the culture, prosperity, education, and welfare of the residents. The purpose is to take advantage of the unique opportunities on the west side. Now you look further down and it talks about designation criteria. And it talks about transition areas, storefront areas, green spaces, appropriate lighting, signage heights and composition, the back of the west side, and the use of the benches and all. If you go through the West Side Overlay, it lays out almost identical issues. Not all of them, but some. And they're simple. So what do we learn? We learned the Village Ordinance 2013-08 established exactly the purpose, policy, and design criteria that the Planning and Zoning Commission provided in the West Side Overlay. It uses virtually the same language, but it gets better. Let's look at the comprehensive plan you just passed some months ago. The comprehensive plan explicitly lays out what the P&Z did in the West Side Overlay. It talks about design considerations in the corridor, non-residential building site, parking area standards, site layout standards, and general sign guidelines, all of which are in the West Side Overlay. And the conclusion, the Planning and Zoning I-35 West Side Overlay draft is on the correct path. The path that you aldermen passed less than 2 months ago. Citizens cannot believe your excuse that the Planning and Zoning Commission is on the wrong path. It is the aldermen who are on the wrong path. The documents, the village ordinance, and the comprehensive plan.
Anyone else? Any more public comments? Okay, item 2, consent agenda. Approval of the A is approval of minutes of November 7, 2024 regular Board of Aldermen meeting. B, acknowledge receipt of petition for release from the extraterritorial jurisdiction pursuant to Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 42, of Jamie M. Thompson as independent executrix of the estate of James Kirby Moeller II. Mr. Del Rosa, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Graham, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Alderman Hurst?
No questions.
Alderman McDonald?
No, Mayor, no questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Bell? Yeah. Any public comments on this? Okay. If there are no further questions and no public comments, I will open the floor for motion. Make a motion to approve consent agenda. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Bell to approve as presented. Seconded by Alderman Hurst. Any further discussion? Question called by Alderman McDonald. All in favor of approval of the consent agenda as presented, specify so by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Being that passes 4-0. Item 3, discuss and consider possible action regarding any item removed from consent agenda. There are none. Item 4, status reports. Village administrator's reports. Mr. De La Rosa. Sure, sir.
Okay, Mayor, Alderman, you'll see up there the sales tax collections for the month of August 2024, so $81,489. a reminder, you can vote in 2 months. Taken up there, so, and then we have a year ago, for the 2023, 75,000, from the other department, and had a significant jump in October 2021 and October 2024.
I don't have any questions about the sales tax. Yes. You got hired a little over a year ago, Manny. I know, we walked through your employment contract together. Are we about due to do anything with that at this point in time? A renewal, a review, anything like that?
Yeah. The, at the conclusion of November,
Okay. So we'll have some item coming up that in the semi-near future we'll need to take care of this on that. Is that right? That's right. Okay, cool. Just wanted to check. Thanks.
Alderman Hurst. Alderman McDonald.
Yes. Mr. Del Rosa, good evening. Generally speaking, when we look at these tax rolls like this, for everybody's benefit for the question, if we wanted to know, are we able to see what EINs are paying what sales tax? Do we have that ability to see that if we so chose, or we only get a maximum? That's all I need to know. Thank you, Mr. Del Rosa. No further questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Bell. Okay, I have a couple questions, Mr. Melrose. One, I got a phone call today about, again, a social media post about some surveying that's being done, Solana Ranch area, Kirkendall Road. They stopped the surveyors supposedly, and they said that, oh, the Village of Salado is getting ready to annex you guys, and they're, of course, not happy about that. And I told my friend, there's no truth to that, and still it kind of created an argument or debate on Facebook about whether or not we're actually doing that or not. So can we please speak to that? There have been no discussions about annexing any of that area. We can't just go out and annex something willy-nilly however we want to. Can you kind of explain that process, please?
there have not been any discussions with any representatives of the Alderman or the Alderman. Meetings and discussions and inquiries and great fun. So, for the village to annex involuntarily, it's very cumbersome. So you don't even need to take further time. There has been no discussion from anyone conducted for an involuntary annexation. We know that Solana Mud, along with the Mustang LLC and the majority of the cities within Delta County, and in Coryell County, and in Clinton County, have all been meeting to discuss the future central Texas water alliance, or more specifically, the fusion of water authority. So that's when I first realized that Solana Mud actually in support of that. But there has been no discussion about annexation.
Thank you. My next question is about I want to talk again about this west side overlay and the statement that's being made that it was never presented to the Board of Aldermen. You and I sat in a P&Z meeting shortly after I took office, and were we not told that this plan for the west side overlay was submitted to your predecessor prior to his departure, and it never made it to the Board of Aldermen? Was that statement made by the commissioner of the P&Z or not? Okay. Going forward, did we not have a conversation with them whenever we moved on it? Statements were made. It would be more appropriate to include these things as they want in the comprehensive plan, which they're supposed to be working on, and then adopt it by ordinance. Is that correct or not?
That's correct.
So that was a direction that was given to them. Okay. Thank you. I'm less concerned with conspiracy theories and more concerned with facts. So let's get the facts straight. And that's why I wanted to ask that question. And that's all I have on that. I do want to reach out to Mr. Frenna again early next week, mid next week, kind of find out. That's not the first time I've heard that people who are newly moving into an area that are getting these ridiculous wastewater bill. So I don't know if that's through a partnership with the.
Wastewater out of our account. They're currently going up beyond any previous someone who's not paying fees. Wait a minute, never. Possibly get it transferred. Some of the new developments, not only the Eagle Heights, the Great Plains, and the Texas, are mature. So what's going on is when a developer builds the infrastructure and sells a lot to a builder will start construction. The building permit, they go to the limit, they go to the water supply and pay their taxes there, and they pay it all up front. Okay. The issue here has been since we haven't been issuing, not been asking for a wastewater application to start from the builders. The builders sometimes do not request a certificate of occupancy, which is an indication of the places for. So therefore, the village has no idea that the property is sold and the building is now being occupied. So it generally takes 4 months, minimally 5 months, about a pretty good time for the village to go up. So now, the moment you get a building permit, you give your wastewater application, they have to fill that out, so you can make it. Eagle Heights doesn't pay impact fees, right? Great Plains is a sanctuary zone. Okay. So what we do is we have that application. We won't send a first bill for the first 2 months. We work with the Salado water. You might recall that we get their water records. We pay for those records. And then we reconcile, see who's on, and by the 3rd month, we start billing. Now that's going to cost us in the last 2 months. As we're reconciling, and I think we gave you an account, we sent you an email about 6 weeks ago that we found 38 delinquent accounts, not paid for a long time, that we're now with the fees, what's inside. So, we had to go with statutes, public institutions, statutes, regularly, water, sewer, and electricity, and alcohol tax and money. So, I would say that most of our building community is having to learn to get the and now having to pay for water. Well, you don't build a house. You don't build a yard without water and sewer. You don't clean the house without sewer. So this will now incentivize those builders to let us know when they sell the property so they can head off the strip. So this is remedy that. That is part of that reconciliation we are going back.
Not to go too far down this road, but as you know, I was working with another citizen regarding their wastewater bills, and what I found out was that the wastewater bill is actually based on the average of some months in the winter, which are the lowest usage months as it applies to the amount of water that they use. So it has absolutely nothing to do with the sewage going out of the house. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And the reason for that, if I'm just so I'm clear, is because we don't have a meter on every house for sewage output or something to that effect. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And why is that?
It is you can have meters on wastewater output, but it is very costly.
Okay.
It's more for industrial.
And so would that cost the end user more to have that in place than the process we're using presently?
I believe it would.
And then what are those months that are being utilized for the average? Is it December, January, February, or?
November, December, January, and February. These are typically the low usage months.
So not to say gaming the system, but for residential customers out there that are on sewer, it would be in their best interest for those months to use as little water as possible, so their average would be lower to that effect.
That is correct. And if we don't have those months, then we try to look at a base for a few months to establish a 12-month period until we get to this November, December, 4 months, and then you will recalculate it, so they're not having to pay it all at one time at the end of 12 months.
And that rate is reassessed annually after the assessment of those months in question.
That's correct. And that is the way your ordinance says. Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Edwards?
So, piggybacking off Alderman Brown, but in this gentleman's case, it doesn't seem logical for his village to do that at all. I mean, I guess my ask is, I know y'all are doing the audit, but could we take an area like Brothers, right? Put stuff into an Excel file and just pivot off of it and say, okay, these are the highest rates. Do these make sense? Just because his doesn't sound like it makes sense. That people do that in a normal usage in the middle of the way.
That's right now. Alderman Graham met with the constituents about irrigation systems. Not all homes have irrigation systems, and the ones that do are using them more often, which means there's a higher consumption rate. So, and that is calculated. You do not have, the Salado Water Supply Corporation does not offer a second meter for irrigation purposes only. Some communities do. Okay? They're not required to. The cities aren't required to. But if they do, then you're only charged for water on the irrigation and then water for the consumables for a resident. So therefore, for Tim, without comparing exactly what the water consumption and whether they have an irrigation system, how often it runs, I can't make an apples and apples comparison. I would have to go look at it, find out exactly what it is, and then look at it. So, and we have this throughout the community. And the question has been posed, well, how about if I put in a meter, you can read it? I don't have those kind of resources. And we're getting, it seems like every week I'm getting applications for automatic irrigation systems at the new homes. So it's not going to make it easier. It's actually going to be, we're going to see these kind of bills. And some will water more. And I can see that when I go look at some of the neighborhoods.
All right, thank you. Item 5 is public hearing. The time is 6:58, and we are going to we're going to reconvene the public hearing from October 3rd of this year on the creation of the Mustang Springs Public Improvement District in accordance with Chapter 372 of the Texas Local Government Code. Mr. Del Rosa, you want to speak to this before we open it up?
No, Mayor and Alderman, let me just say that I have met with James Kirby, the principal developer for Mustang Springs. So some of the holdup has been that until I see a driller's report on their findings that once it's implemented to clear water for their Aaron's review, I would also like to have a copy for the city so we can have our city engineers review. So until that has occurred, this matter continues to be open. At least we can take public hearings and continue to recess until we actually maybe one day to say no more until, and then we'll have them go back to the public. And they were, and they indicated that they did post again. But they are waiting for the driller that they selected to be able to come back and complete this. And that has been the time issue. So based on not being today, on the 19th, and I also followed up. If I don't see it, basically the week prior to the 19th, because then that's time for our consultants to review a given date in January. So this will continue. It's just an opportunity for public comment on that proposed solution for public comment.
Thanks, sir. Alderman Graham, do you have any?
No question.
Alderman Hurst? No question. Alderman McDonald?
No questions, man.
Mayor Pro Tem? All right. I will open the floor to anyone who wishes to speak on this agenda item. Come on, well, let Ms. Reynolds go first.
Linda Reynolds, 1110 Mill Creek Drive. I brought this up before, and I'm not sure if it was answered or not, but I want to bring it up again just in case. Number one, I think it's wise to wait until we know they have water before you start having the village name connected to bank bonds. And then it still doesn't make sense to me for us to support this when the person doesn't own the land. And I mentioned, I know Billy Hanks Jr. owns the sanctuary land, and the town signed an agreement to do a PID, and that's gone through. But I don't understand why we support this thing other than that the previous mayor signed a document stating that he would agree to a PID. I don't understand if the person who we're dealing with doesn't literally own the whole land at this point, whether that makes any sense or not. But this is a developer deal, and maybe I'm sure I don't understand developers. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Michaels, you got something?
Larry Michaels, 1346 Long Meadows, later effective. Mayor, Alderman, I question this developer's integrity. We've been messing with this development. 2 years ago, the development agreement was approved. Priority one for developers getting the entitlements of utilities. He delayed that over a year to even start doing it. He drilled one well and pretty crappy water. It can't be used, doesn't meet the requirements of the development phase one. And now he's going to drill 2 more test wells. It took him, 4 or 5 months to drill the first one. Why are we continuing this public hearing? Why don't we just close it out? When he gets his stuff in order, reopen it back up.
They have permits to drill 2 more test wells?
I don't doubt it. I mean, that size, Mayor, 1,100 acres, you're not going to be able to do it in 1 year. Sure. I mean, this before when I was in the wells, we had 4 wells, and they were 900 people back in 2011, and I don't even know if they had today.
All right, anyone else want to speak on this item? It's 7:03. Are we going to recess this? Or are we?
That is just.
We're going to recess this one more time until the next the board has it. Okay. 7:03. We're leaving the public hearing. Item 6: discussion and possible action on
And if you may, do you want to recess and go to the DGA now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. All right, we're going to 7:03. We're going to recess the Board of Aldermen meeting. We're going to change gears, change hats, and enter into the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Is that right? Yeah. It's 7:03. This is okay. I guess again, Ms. Bean, call the roll. All right, thank you, ma'am. Citizen communications. Those wishing to speak on this item, again, the 5-minute time limit applies with this. That one is that. This is for a variance request for some signage at 21 North Main Street. Variance requested to sign ordinance for bar 1859 of business located at 21 North Main Street in Salado. So I will open the floor now for public comment, citizen communications on this.
Is this your number 2 public hearing? Yeah.
This is number 1.
Okay.
None? Okay. Item 2, public hearing. Is 7:04. We'll now enter into a public hearing on the variance request to the sign ordinance for bar 1859, a business located at 21 North Main Street, Salado, Texas. Just before we do that, Mr. Bellows, if you want to explain what this is, what they're requesting.
Yeah.
So they are requesting a variance for their sign, upscale craft cocktail lounge serving small bites. The sign has been designed to reflect the aesthetics that they created for their business, and this went before the Planning and Zoning Committee, I believe, at their last meeting. They approved it and pushed it forward to us. The sign's backlit with a soft light, and Miss Tracy Eddy, who is here, Miss Eddy, if you'd like to come up to speak on some of this, she believes that their sign meets the regulations put forth, and apparently the P&Z agreed, and they approved it. So, would you like to add anything to that?
I didn't take the last part you said.
It went before the Planning and Zoning Commission,
yeah,
and they
no.
recommended approval.
I just showed them, some of them came by and saw it in person. And I brought pictures in case if you haven't seen it at night, you can see if it's clear or not. Okay.
All right. You want to add anything to that about the sign and the design, and kind of explain for those that haven't seen it?
Sure. Yeah, we had a sign handcrafted, and my understanding is the issue with the sign is that the lighting, I'm sure you can explain it better, is attached to the back of the sign, which is against the rules. But we felt that the spirit of the sign actually fits the idea of Salado. It's super soft. It really lights up the brick behind it. It doesn't, not shining into the street. It is literally a very, very soft light. And I would say it could easily be one of the most aesthetically pleasing signs in the village. And I would welcome anyone to come take a look at it. We just wanted it to be really nice, and that's what we set out to do. Not realizing we didn't, that one piece of the puzzle didn't fit. So while I do agree that we don't really fit the letter of the law or the rule, I wholeheartedly 100% believe that the look of the sign fits the spirit and aesthetic of the village. So.
Great. Alderman Graham, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Alderman Hurst?
No question.
Alderman McDonald?
General question, Mr. Del Rosa, was a permit already issued for this sign? Did they already install? I mean, obviously it's already been installed, things of that nature. Was that put in already, that kind of stuff? Is there anything, any responsibilities professionally outstanding from Bar 1859 to the village, regardless of the approval or disapproval of this?
No, there's been an application for the permit. It's not this for this specific time. Okay. There was another design that was approved that is permit was received. And the difference between this sign and the other detached list, the ordinance for Main Street along with maybe Gilbert Street.
Yes, sir.
Are directional spotlights, not
understood.
so.
That does. Thank you for answering that question. No further questions.
Pro Tim?
So, Ms. Eddy, the sign in question, the back side of it, you say it shines up against the brick. How far from the brick is it?
I really don't know. I would have to say a few inches. I know there's a drawing.
It's not feet. It's more.
Oh, no. Actually, it's like an LED light behind this handcrafted metal sign. And the LED lights were kind of like hand placed, so we would have even lighting across the back of the sign.
Right.
And it's a few inches, I would say.
So it's not exposed to another outside area.
No, the lighting is like strip lighting.
Yeah.
Like it's like just that LED strip. I wish I knew the right word. There's probably a fancier word for that, but it's like almost like under cabinet lighting. Right? It's just yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Eddy. Any comments from the public? No? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. All right.
If this is, I have a question.
Sure.
If this is approved, We haven't turned it on yet. We'll just, how do you let us know the outcome of today?
Oh, you're gonna hear it here in just a minute.
Oh, sounds even better. Great.
Yeah. Mr. Del Rosa, you anything to add to this?
And that'd be true, if we approve this, they could move forward now.
It's automatic.
Yeah. I'll be over there after, we'll turn the light on. Okay, 7:10, we are leaving the public hearing. Item 3, discussion and possible action. Discuss and possible action to approve a variance request to assign ordinance for Bar 1859, a business located at 21 North Main Street in Salado, Texas. Self-explanatory. Alderman Graham, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Alderman Hurst? No questions. Alderman McDonald?
No questions,
Mayor
Mayor.
Pro Tem Bell? All right. If there are no more questions, Mr. Del Rosa, nothing more to add? Okay, and no more questions, and I will open the floor for a motion.
Mayor.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Mayor, I recommend approval based on written request. Thank you.
A motion made by Alderman McDonald to approve as written,
I will second it.
seconded by Alderman Graham. Any further discussion? Question call by Alderman Hurst. All in favor of approving item 3A as presented, specify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Ms. Bean, that passes 4-0. Ms. Eddie, you can turn your light on. Thank you. All right, it is 7:12 and we are hanging hats once again, leaving the zoning board of adjustments and entering back into the regular Board of Aldermen meeting. All right. 6, discussion and possible action. If the board will allow it, I'm gonna move item F up to the front, in the interest that we have a gentleman here that this relates to. I don't want to have him sit here if he doesn't need to, or he's got other things to do. Any objections to that? Yeah. Item F is discussion and possible action to approve amending plat of Mill Creek Springs Phase 4, amended Lot 1 and 2, Block 1, located in the Village of Salado extraterritorial jurisdiction. Mr. De La Rosa.
I'm looking for the, okay, I thought you were so what? Yes, no, I got it. She doesn't have a voice, so, at the, November 12th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission, they heard about this amending plat of Mill Creek Springs Phase 4, amended Lot 1 and 2, I believe, the resident here, who can speak on it, so you'll see the diagram, he had an opportunity to acquire a portion of this driveway, so you can amend the plat. So if you'd like to introduce yourself.
My name's Dave Scheider, and I'm at 2750 Hester Way. My wife and I moved to Salado from Morgan's Point about 2 years ago, almost to the date. And about a year ago, our neighbor asked if we wanted to do a land swap. He owned a strip of land right behind our lot, and we have enough land on the side that we decided, yeah, we can switch. So this request for swapping land.
So this is just a transaction between two neighbors.
It is, but it requires, sure, less than 5 days, it requires that. So if the land decided it was the easiest and quickest way to do this, it meets all the subdivision requirements, even though it's in our EC code. So the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval, and that is definitely.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I will open this up to public comments. None. All right. In that case, Alderman Graham, do you have any questions?
No, he's right across the fairway from me. I'm good with it.
Alderman Hurst?
No question.
Alderman McDonald?
No question.
Mayor Pro Tem Bell?
None.
Okay. If there are no further questions and no public comments, then I will open the floor for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the plat as presented.
Motion made by Alderman Graham to approve item F as presented. Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Bell. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Alderman McDonald. All in favor of approving item F as presented, specify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? As being that passes 4-0. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time. Okay, item 6A, discussion and possible action on approving ordinance number 2024 TAC 24, an ordinance of the Village of Salado, Texas to establish child safety zones and district restrictions for registered sex offenders, and including the following: findings of fact, effective date, repealer, severability clause, and the proper notice and meeting. This is actually the second discussion we're having on this, right? We were waiting on the maps to be updated.
Yes, sir. Mayor and Alderman, so you'll see that there is an exhibit with a map. The chief can answer. We work closely on identifying the child safety zones, parks, councils, and items like that. So, chief, unless you got anything to add, it's ready to be approved. Yes.
Alderman Graham, do you have any questions for Chief?
When the new high school is stood up, will it extend into that footprint as well, or is that something that needs to be accounted for at this time?
Let me answer this. The new high school is not within the city. You can only regulate in the city limits. So once it gets annexed,
When it does, we'll
the
make
map
an
will be
amendment. Okay.
amended, and
I
then
got it.
it will be amended, and then it will be reviewed annually.
Okay, that makes sense. That's the only question I have. Thanks.
Alderman Hurst.
No question.
Alderman McDonald.
Yes. Hey, Chief Fields, thanks for answering this question real quick. So, keeping it very simple and above board, anybody who currently may be prohibited from getting into these zones, if they currently reside based on housing, at this point of this ordinance potentially passing, this does not technically apply to them when it comes to where they live. Am I saying that correctly?
That is correct.
I just want to make that point real out loud. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Bell. All right. Anything to add, Chief? Okay, appreciate you. Any public comments on this? Nope. Okay. Mrs. Alrosa, you have anything you want to add?
No, no.
Good. Okay. If there are no further questions, then I will open the floor for a motion.
I make a motion we approve ordinance number 2024-24.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Bell to approve as presented. Seconded by Alderman Hurst. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Alderman Graham. All in favor of approving item 6A as presented, specify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Being that passes 4-0. Item 6B, discussion and possible action on approving ordinance number 2024 TAC 25, an ordinance of the Village of Salado, Texas to establish a covered application and prohibited technology policy, and including the following findings of fact, effective date, repealer, severability clause, and proper notice and meeting. Mr. De La Rosa.
Mayor, during the last legislative session during 2023, the legislature passed a requirement that not only state government but also cities adopt a policy that regulated this very specific what they call the covered application of prohibited technology policy. We're adopting it by ordinance. In essence, it's the prohibition of TikTok or similar type of apps on government issued phones and devices. So it's at the state level and it's federal. So the state, the legislature directed one of the state agencies to come up with a policy. That policy was sent out in September, and we have a deadline to meet that, and we're within that deadline. And when I received it, I sent it to the city attorney, make sure that it's compliant. We're basically adopting the policy set up the state level. The cities have to adopt something. So it was tailored to meet that, and I believe it was adopted by ordinance, so we can try.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Graham, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Alderman Hurst?
No question.
Alderman McDonald?
No questions, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Bell?
Well, that's the last question. I do this for a living. I'm fine with the TikTok crap and all that. That's spot on. That's good. I'm more interested in understanding how we as a village are gonna track these devices. Who's gonna track the devices? What software is being used to track the devices? When a device is jailbroken, how are you gonna know? And when it is jailbroken, how are you gonna remediate it?
But this would be on our city employees for anybody that we this city stuff.
I
So
understand.
we have an IT department. We will certainly look at these. So this ordinance is adopted, which means that it will be enforceable by us. So I would suggest you can this could put it into the personnel policy, but you're adopting it as the legislative body and it's applicable to all of the city phones and devices,
Right.
not your personal.
No, I understand that. How are you gonna manage them? What software are you using to track these phones?
Yeah. Now that we've adopted it, we will certainly have that. We will have to follow up with our IT department, just like we do in cybersecurity. That's outside of my wheelhouse, but they will certainly guide me to that.
We don't know how much that costs.
Yeah. Well, the legislature didn't do this for you. So this is what I would consider an unfunded mandate.
Because as soon as we adopt this, you're on the hook. So if you or any one of the employees goes out and accesses that site, I don't see how anybody's gonna know.
Well, because we utilize Facebook and that's social media, and social media, a lot of TikTok is connected to Facebook. So there is that. I think is, we haven't even think that we're actually downloading an app that doesn't meet that statutory requirement. But again, this is a state legislature requirement upon all state and local governments. So not compliant will certainly, I would imagine, have other negative consequences.
So what is the timeline we think the IT department's gonna have some kind of solution in place?
Well, and that's what it is. So if this is an industry standard and everybody's having to comply, there will be something coming out or something like that. For us, it will just be, are you downloading them? If it is, currently, IT downloads all applications on our phone. So, and what I understand, including my phone. So, I don't think any employee can download anything on these devices. We need IT to come out and they download. They set the phone and it's got some type of security measures that they already have in place.
And that's what I want to know, is what are the security measures they're using? I don't know if they're using Intune, if they're using, which would be a norm, seeing how we use Microsoft. But I mean, it gives them the right to wipe and do all that stuff. Then you get into the personal devices and the BYOD policy, which you don't have. So that's where I think we fall into, because in essence, we are a BYOD user of email from the city on a personal device.
Yes, and we're having those discussions, as I indicated to you recently, that we need to change some of those dynamics within our organization.
Those are the questions I have, and it's like we have this here, but we don't have a lot of answers on how we manage it going forward. I understand the state's mandating it. I mean, we're letting the governor decide which apps get blocked. I mean, like he's the guy we need to have doing it.
Yeah. So I believe that industry-wide in government, that there will be protocols in place that IT to follow. I think of it as the same thing that IT department deals with criminal justice information systems procedures. There are protocols in place for that. I've been around for a long time. Now I think it's good. And cybersecurity went in about back in the legislative session of 2021. So we're 4 years into it, and that's included. And now I've got to get authentication on the phone. There's all of these things that all of these new requirements that we're having to comply for our security to protect our data from any type of malware or some type of system. So
Mexico's still doing the IT stuff, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
And really, it could just be as simple as Manny calls Chief Bills and says, "Let me see your phone." And you look to see if there's TikTok on that or any other application. Do they like you have a Village phone? Is it your iTunes account that is logged into that, or do we have our own? So your Apple account. So for your Village cell phone, for your work cell phone, in order to get any sort of app on there, or even to do anything, you have to log into use an Apple ID.
Yes.
So is it your personal, or is it something that the IT has done?
Something like this.
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, I've got a government furnished cell phone that I've used with the VA that I work for, and IT manages all the apps, permissions, all that kind of stuff is managed by them, and then it's handed over to you, and it's very, there's left and right limits on it that is mandated by the IT department.
Let's go to Apple Business Manager that doesn't have the policies behind it that drive what's can and can't be done. On my personal cell phone, I can't even screenshot because I have a policy that blocks it because it's taxation.
Yes.
So there are different. There's another layer of security here. I'm curious what that is and how it's being managed and who's watching it. Because first thing, I shouldn't have to call Steve Fields into your office and say you use TikTok. Kristen is smart enough to know that if he put TikTok on that phone somehow, some way, it would notify him and say, hey, this is jail TikTok.
And there should be certain firewalls built in.
Yeah. And I know that when I had an in-house IT, that they would sign up on the system when they do something about it. Without ever calling in for it. But Alderman McDonald said that we've been discussing social media policy at a local level and then more interdepartmental. Because it is and today, Mr. Dean and I were looking at our personnel policy that was adopted in 2013, and it's lacking several areas. So it's on my to-do list.
All right. I will open the floor for public comments. Nobody has anything to say about TikTok? Okay. All right. If there's no further questions, then I will open the floor for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-25 as written, with the understanding that an enforcement policy follows, and the board will be notified how that action is being taken once it's in place.
You will be adopting it.
Motion made by Alderman Graham to approve as written, with an enforcement policy forthcoming.
Second that, Mayor.
Seconded by Alderman McDonald. Any further discussion? Question called by Alderman Hurst. All in favor of approval of ordinance number 2024-25 as written with the enforcement policy to follow, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That passes, Ms. Dean, 4-0. Item C, discussion of possible action on approving resolution number R2024-07, a resolution authorizing the hiring of a bond counsel on a contingency fee basis and authorizing Mayor Burt Henry to execute the engagement agreement for legal services. Mr. De La Rosa.
Okay, as I started looking at the capital improvement, and Mr. Miller can step up because you'll have some questions for him, but as I started looking at your capital improvement plan and your finance plan for your 3 tech stop projects, the federal EPA project, and now the West Village Road grant award, and I shared some of that information with you recently about construction costs and financing and where we are with some of the projects that we've already started paying for. So I reached out to paper staff, Mr. Miller, and I asked him, "Are you our bond counsel?" No, I'm the kid bond counsel. Very specifically assigned to this. So I did have another conversation with Christine when I found out who it was, who did the bond 20 years ago, it's a wastewater project. I said, well, I'm not familiar with the company, and I certainly don't know the consultant. So it is my recommendation that we have one with the staff and Mr. Miller, a reputable, we've been working with him, I've been working since I came on board, with the template bid and now the methane spring bid. So we've developed a working relationship. So it is my recommendation that he put together a statement of qualifications for that sent out to you, that he provides the resolution and the agreement for your consideration should you desire to do that. So the laws have changed since you selected, or the prior Board of Aldermen has done that. The resolution is not required, but it's compliant with the current state statute. And he said that working relationship, I was recommending that, and recommending to you that you consider this consultant to perform this service.
All right. Alderman Graham, do you have any questions for either Mr. Del Rosa or Mr. Miller?
Manny, did you take a look at other any other locations in terms of their fees, and is this pretty competitive industry standard wise?
It's competitive. It is within the ballpark.
Okay.
So whether you're using bond counsel, financial advisors, underwriters, they're all within a very small percentage difference. So you're not going to be able to save a lot. You don't. So when you go out for a request for qualifications, and Alderman, you don't get to ask if you're registered for it.
Yeah.
Right. You look at the qualifications, the experience, who the team is. You set a set of criteria to judge them, and then you go out and solicit that, right? And then you try to determine which is going to be the best fit for you. Okay. So the answer is no, but that is the reason why.
Understood. No further questions.
Alderman Hurst?
No.
Alderman McDonald?
Yes, Mayor. Mr. Miller, good evening.
Good evening.
On the ethics side of this, is there any conflict of professional interest with you representing both sides of this? Whether it be a PID or a bond that would just one side, and that's the village. And all of my clients for which we do PID work, we also do the bond work. This is the first time I've worked with a client that was just for one aspect. But in all times, we represent the village, whether it's a PID transaction or any other transaction. Okay. Thank you for answering my question, sir. No further questions, man. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Bell?
Manny, remind me, since I'm old, who was our previous bond counsel? I can't recall the name.
Or is it?
Were they out of San Antonio?
Yes, they were not.
I know you said you talked with Miss Lane. Is she on board with this move also?
No, I don't think part of my consultancy is. I don't make a habit. What I do is sometimes Mayor and Alderman, I like when they're in conflict because they're going to give me each side of what they need. So you get to make an informed decision. But I do know that she's spoken well of him when I first came on board because I knew Sheriff. I've known him for 12 years. I didn't know him. So he spoke very highly of Mr. Miller. And if not, I told you that he wouldn't be here today if I didn't believe him.
So, Mr. Miller, have you worked with Miss Lane on financial advice?
Yes, sir. We have one other common client. We've been working together for, I want to say 5 years. Okay. And actually, now we also have a couple of other smaller clients. Chris and I know each other very well. We have a great working relationship.
And then y'all, you certainly worked on the PID side.
Yes, sir. Here and then also in the city of Maynard. And then we represent a couple of other clients doing primarily Texas Water Development Board transactions.
Okay, Mr. Miller, you have anything else you'd like to add?
Well, of course, I need to mention how glad we are and how much we value the relationship with the village. Yeah, we really enjoy working with y'all, and it's something that we're very proud to do. I want to throw out a couple of things y'all haven't asked, but I just want to throw out, I do have some relevant experience I'd like to mention. I represented TxDOT both with the Attorney General's office and then also as an attorney specifically for TxDOT. And then with the City of Austin, I was the primary transportation attorney and also worked with a lot of development stuff. So I'm very familiar with water, wastewater, infrastructure, and particularly transportation. Both working with grants and public finance and also just regular bond issues. So I feel like that's going to help y'all a lot.
Greg, are you charging us for tonight?
I charge you for every per word, basically. So yeah, I'm try to.
We hadn't even heard him on the bond stuff yet. He doesn't lie.
Yeah, but so you understand the fee structure, I guess. It's a flat rate and for the first million, and then a rate for each million after that, and it's in line with the.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Well, thank y'all.
I will open this up to public comment. Anyone? No? All right. Thank you, Mr. Miller. All right, Mr. Veloso, do you have anything else you want to add?
Mr. Mayor, we'll need an individual vote for the resolution that we need to file and make it part of the security filings or something. Some reason, but Mr. Miller certainly did the resolution that how we record this, especially for individual.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, if there are no public comments and no further questions, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve resolution number R/2024-07, authorizing hiring board bond counsel.
Second.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Bell to approve resolution number R/2024-07 as presented and seconded by Alderman Graham. Any further discussion? Question called by Alderman Hurst, and I'll go down the line on this. Alderman Graham?
Yes.
Alderman Hurst?
Yes.
Alderman McDonald?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bell?
Yes.
Ms. Bean, that passes 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Miller. We appreciate your time, sir. D, discussion of possible action to deny the petition for release from the extraterritorial jurisdiction from W. Blair Williams, President, on behalf of Fun Valley Ltd., pursuant to Texas Local Government Chapter 42, specifically for non-compliance with Section 42.103. Mr. Del Rosa, can you add to that, please?
It seems like every month I've got a new petition for release from the ETJ. Party to one this evening. There are certain elements that would need to be met to meet that requirement. I look for those. If it meets it, I don't think it should be turned. If it's deciding any questions, this one I did. And it did not comply with the Section 42.103, which is the applicability of other law, which is Chapter 277 of the Election Code. Basically, we didn't identify themselves, date of birth, and some other factors that are general in the petition. If you look at the ones you saw in the consent, you'll see some information. This is lacking and did not meet it. So, based on that, you'll see that there's a copy of a letter that was sent out certified mail, and also a ticket for statute in the your restaurant. So, when they dropped it off, it was dropped off. No contact information, anything. You must do the bill cab records to get an address. You try to locate a telephone number, and we only found an address that we sent a certified letter. But rather than let it default, the petition was received, no action taken, and it automatically. Look, I'm not opposed to anybody pulling the property out of the ETJ. That's what they're going to do. To follow that statutory requirement. And for that reason, I recommend that the petition be.
Alderman Graham?
No questions.
Alderman Hurst?
No question.
Alderman McDonald?
Question for Mr. De La Rosa. So by us doing this, and because the due diligence on the submitter was not done, we're in essence potentially protecting a request that may have been done erroneously. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Bell.
This doesn't preclude them from coming back and refile.
No, sir, it does not.
They can always
All they gotta do is
follow what they're supposed to do.
follow corrected meeting, yes.
And will they receive a notice if they were denied?
I sent a letter already that they need to contact you, because the copy of the letter was in there.
Right. But once we do the vote, are they gonna receive another letter that says,
Yeah, I'll send another letter that it was denied, and that we have faith in that. I can do that.
All right. Any public comments on this item? Nope. Okay. No comments. If there's no further questions, I will open the floor for a motion.
Mayor.
Motion to approve the denial of the petition for release from the ETJ on item 60.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Hurst to deny the petition for release from the ETJ as presented, seconded by Alderman Graham. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Alderman McDonald. All in favor of denying the petition for release as presented, specify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Ms. Bean, 4-0. Item E, discussion and possible action to approve West Amity Gas Station final plat located in the Village of Salado extraterritorial jurisdiction at West Amity Road and FM 1670. Mr. De La Rosa?
Yes, so this is a proposed gas station to go to the northwest corner of West Amity Road at FM 1670. It's met all of the development, the subdivision, development standards. We provided you a letter of MLB stating so. The Planning and Zoning Commission on November 12, 2024 approved the final plat and recommended approval.
Alderman Graham, any questions?
No questions.
Alderman Hurst?
No question.
Alderman McDonald?
No questions, Mayor. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Bell?
no,
All right, I'll open this up to public comments. None? Okay. If there are no more questions and no public comments, I will open the floor for a motion.
Make a motion we approve the West Amity Gas Station final plat located in the ETJ as presented.
Motion made by Alderman Graham to approve as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Hurst. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Alderman McDonald. All in favor of approving the West Amity Gas Station final plat as presented, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Being that passes 4-0. Item G, discussion and approval of financial reports ending October 31, 2024. Mr. De La Rosa.
Okay, you have the financials for ending October. So to go through this, let me just start with the revenue stream has been slow coming in. So property taxes, so I anticipate that we will be seeing a large increase until late December. So those that want to write it up in this point tax year, and if not, that moves in January. So many of the projects, for example, the asphalt overlay project that we've already looked at many locals and set off the causing, so we make sure that we have enough funding to be able to handle some of those projects.
Thank you, sir. Anything else?
No, any questions?
Alderman Graham?
Line 4210, it's a small amount, but it is 216 over budget. Sign permit miscellaneous under licenses, permits, and fees.
What's the number again?
4210.
Okay. So, it is signs that we've been buying. Signs, those, when they get hit, like the handicap post signs, some other signs, the stop signs, things that are missing. So we are going around replacing signs for the repair them. So, but yeah, we've been.
So do you think we under budgeted that for this
I
last
think
year?
it was under budgeted because it wasn't being done very often.
Yeah. Got it. All right. And then 5313, training and travel. We're 1,029.94% spent on that line item.
Again, we've had newly elected officials, so some are going to training, we've had some conferences, so again, I don't believe that some of you that you should attend to me. So with that, it will start to get a better gauge of education for elected officials, and then even mine. I mean, I've got a public funds investment tax training coming up in a couple of weeks, which is why we can't do some different.
And has the museum submitted their paperwork yet for their grant in hot funds?
Yes, sir. They submitted the request, we processed it, and I think we did sign the request last week, so it's been submitted.
Those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
Alderman Hurst. Alderman McDonald.
No questions anymore. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Bell.
No.
Any public comments on this? None? Okay, no further questions, no public comments, then I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we accept and approve the financial reports ending in October 31st, 2024.
Motion made by Alderman Graham to approve the financial reports ending October 31st, 2024 as presented. Seconded by Alderman Hurst. Any further questions or discussion? Question called by Alderman McDonald. All in favor of approval of financial reports ending October 31, 2024, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That also passes, Ms. Bain, 4-0. Item H, discussion and approval of the 2025 Village Employee Holiday Schedule. Mr. Del Rosa?
Okay, well, this is time for me to fess up on something. I saw your personnel policy today on holidays. So apparently we have 2 more holidays than the policy allows. So we're gonna have to reconcile it one day. Anyway, either we follow the policy, the personnel policy, or we follow the one that I thought we were following because I did like to. So the one that you're utilizing follows more the federal holidays. The other one, yeah, there was, for example, the Juneteenth on here that wasn't on the policy. There was another thing, and then they had a floating holiday for employees' birthdays. So, yeah. I'm not sure how to do this. So I did post what happens in the weekend because it's slowly you take it in time. So I like consistency. I like so you can adopt this and we start working off this, or we table it and we just kind of do that on New Year's Day because I may not, if I get you on December 17th and I can get you at the next meeting within the personal. So that's what I mean, it's the finding that we're going to say. Pick which one you want. Now, you can take no action on this and say we follow the personal policy. That's and the way it's waiting holiday. It is. I think it is 2 days more. Yes, and this one, right? 2 days more than the other policy. The personal.
Alderman Graham?
Don't you just have the discretionary policy to give the person the day off for their birthday or something of that nature?
This is a city administrative government. No.
Not the military anymore.
Okay.
Don't tell secrets.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No secret. No further questions.
Alderman Hurst? Alderman McDonald?
for clarity, which one's better? The one we got in place with the personnel or the one that we're looking at right now, based on days allowed?
Yeah, based on days, it'll be it's two people, right? It has some impact. Right? But again, you have to, in 2013, you can possibly.
So for a moment of clarity, Mr. De La Rosa, so the current personnel policy that you're speaking of is the better bet for the team. Am I saying that correctly?
It is, because anytime there's less, it's simple as that. From what I can tell, I mean, I only look at last. This is what I thought, but I looked, but if it wasn't that it came up that it said, hey, there's a person there,
Is it PTO we're talking about here, or is it just TO?
it's just a floating holiday,
Floating holiday.
right? That's it.
They get paid for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I mean. PTO, paid time off.
yeah, take time off. Yeah, but they call it floating holiday.
Like the records show that I'm still asking questions, not Alderman Graham.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So
I withdraw my question.
So that was a great question. So for my benefit and clarity, the current personnel policy allows for a birthday day off currently. Is that what we're saying? Thank you. No further questions, Mr. De La Rosa. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Bell.
I really don't have questions, I have comments, well, I think like Alderman McDonald, I'd like to see personnel policy in place and see you delve deep into that. And then us go ahead and just grant you the two federal holidays in January as being accepted moving forward, and allow you to bring that back to us either in late December or in January. I mean, that's kind of my thought process on that. The only other comment I got is, not that I'll be around for it, but Juneteenth, you boys are going to be having a meeting unless,
Yeah, Juneteenth is not on the 21st.
yeah, but it is a federal, it's not, because at the time it wasn't a federal holiday.
No,
So
and you're right,
times have changed, and so.
And that was the point I was trying to make. If times have changed, this is today's time, and this is what you should stay with. If you're doing it for a cost saving measure, well, you can always reduce. I mean, this is very gracious.
Work at the bank before
I've
having-
worked, yeah, well, I've worked in city government my career, and it's usually capped at 10 days. So, there were certain days. I mean, I recall in my spouse's work for city, he was off Columbus Day, but I wasn't at my last point. Okay, so I mean, not everything's equal and fair, but this follows what most employees that are either federal, bank, does. This is that calendar which was when I came on board, I looked at this. That's a lot of days. Now, as far as floating holidays, I've never been a fan of floating holidays. You just say that it's okay.
You get to do a 59-minute rule? Give them off an hour earlier, though?
No, that's a legal obligation.
That other thing's not.
Yeah. So we will follow the personal policy, and then I'll let you compare it with the other things. I'll have to next meeting just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. But again, I saw that today.
You do what my command master used to do, and you requested a day off on your birthday, then he authorized you to take a half day, but quickly reminded you there are 24 hours in a day. So you can work 12 hours and you get the other 12 hours off. I only made that mistake once. So what do you want to, any public comments on this? Oh, all right. Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion that we instruct the city manager to go ahead and use the personnel policy in place and ask him to take the presented holiday schedule and meld it into that and come back and present it to us either in December or January for approval. And we'll go ahead and add that the New Year's Day on the first, Wednesday, the 1st of January, and Martin Luther King Jr. birthday on Monday, January 20th, already approved. The first is
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Bell to approve as he presented.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman McDonald. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called by Alderman Graham. All in favor of approving as stated by Mayor Pro Tem Bell, say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? This being passes 4-0. Mr. De La Rosa, do we have a need to go into executive session since we've kind of recessed this whole PID discussion?
Yeah, because you may not speak for a little while. We just, if it takes more than 15 minutes, it'll be all right.
Okay. All right. At this time, we are going to enter into executive session, which is item 7A on the agenda. The time is 7:56. Shouldn't be but a few minutes, and we'll bring everybody back in once we're done. 7:56. You good to go? Okay. It's 8:21, and we are leaving executive session and reconvening the regular Board of Aldermen meeting. Item 8A, discussion of possible action regarding agenda item 7A. There's no action to be taken, correct?
No,
None? Okay. Then the next item is adjournment. So moved, 8:22.